All right, so first thing I got to say is wow. Okay, wow. Wow, that was a game. That's a D3 football game right there. I mean, that's as good as they get. That's a classic. Certainly, hats off to Wisconsin Whitewater. I mean, they came in with a great game plan, had us on our heels early. Did a good job scheming us up, made some big plays on offense. Kind of had us a little bit off balance, with their defense out there. We couldn't just get some traction early, and they opened it up on us. Right, it was looking a little bleak, and they popped up that kick even. Nice job by them on the special team side. They were just making plays in that first quarter, and like I said, they had us on our heels. But this team, man, this team is special. They've been special all year. We've been in those situations before already. Down 14 to Co, down 10 to Dubuque. Earlier this season, we've been in those battles. Even battle tested from last year, thinking back to Mount Union in the semifinals, getting down on the road and just finding a way. This team just fights. They believe in each other. I told them before the game, one thing that we've got that I don't believe anyone else has more of than we do is we've got a lot of blue collar on this team, tough dudes, and we got a lot of love. These guys really care a lot about each other. And like I say every week, we're really fighting just to have another week together, and they're living that. You just saw that today. That's where that fight came from. It's nothing to do with getting trophies or anything. That's literally to fight for the guy next to them and have a chance to be together for one more week, and they did it. So what a special day. Obviously, the second half, well, first of all, we've got to find a way to fight our way back, in the first half. Second half was a grinder, right? Back and forth, both defenses coming up with big stops. Their offense finally came through, kind of got up on us there, and our offense, man. Coach Wheeler and the offense coming up with that in about 4 minutes there, driving it down the field. Some great play calling on the throwback to Tom, the screen to Hunter to get us in the end zone. And, Coach Wheeler deserves a ton of credit for those calls down the stretch and making that happen. And obviously these players, what they did today is super special. So, like I said, hard to come up with words for how I feel right now. I think I actually blacked out a little bit on the sideline. So, it was one of those crazy days. And, wow, man, it was an awesome win for our program. So, super excited.
Chris, the decision to take the ball first or to defer to the second half, just talk about what went into that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what we've always done. Our plan is, and we didn't execute it very well today, but the plan is to kick it off down to them, try to pin them down inside their area, get a 3 and out, and get the ball back to our offense with some field position. And obviously Whitewater, did a nice job. We got them to third down, and they came up with a nice scheme, hit us over the top for a big play, and yeah, it was on at that point. And like I said, that kind of got us on our heels a little bit. But that's kind of the way we've always done things. Is we're a big, hey, we're going to defer, put our defense out there first, take advantage of some field position early, and try and get the offense in some plus field position and let them go to work. And like I said, that didn't work out as well for us today. But the fact that we fought back and got a couple scores late there in the second quarter, really getting the ball back to start the third quarter, I think was a big thing too, just to keep that momentum on our side.
Is that an emphasis to rush the ball more in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, we want to run the ball. I mean, that's still like what we are, right? We run the football. That's our deal. And so, when you got a guy like Hunter and an offensive line like we have, which I think super proud of our offensive line the way it held up today. I think a lot of people thought going into this game that the front was going to be an advantage to Whitewater. I mean, you can look at the guys they line up out there. They look a little bit different than ours, but our guys fight, man. They compete, and they opened up holes for this guy, and you don't need too much space for him to make something happen. And so, yeah, we want to be able to run the football, and we have to. Otherwise, they're going to pin their ears back and put the pressure on Nile and that type of thing. So I think that balance, being able to continue to get you hard yards in the ground, it wasn't always easy. They weren't always big plays, but really get hard yards in the ground really set up what our passing game did in terms of getting the ball down the field and making some big plays there too.
Well, Nile and Hunter, talk about that last drive. It was epic. Two fourth downs. I mean, your careers were almost over. I mean, sudden death if you don't convert it. I mean, what was going through your mind tonight?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the point, you don't really even. I mean, obviously, it's fourth down. You got to make a play, but you don't really think about that could be it. But looking back at it now, I mean, I've been at a loss for words for a while now, but I've kind of come to peace with it now. And I mean, unbelievable play calling, and the guys were making plays. The line was blocking their butts off, so they were giving it all they had, and that's the fight that we have. We're going to keep going until we don't got any fight left.
You always had confidence that you guys were going to make it happen.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you have Nile back there as a quarterback, and the receivers that we have, Drake George, friggin' C. Henny, Thor Moxted, and Butters, making some amazing catches down that last drive. All they need to do is just catch the ball. And Nile's going to put it in a great spot, and with that screen too, I knew we I just needed to catch the ball, and I knew we were going to score. But yeah, when Nile's back there, I got all the confidence in the world with our line too, and our receivers spreading their routes. So it was definitely one I'll remember for the rest of my life. It was awesome.
But what was the feeling when you were down 21-3?
You know, yeah. I mean, I was being honest. I mean, I was a little nervous. You know, I knew we had to get a good drive going. They've been stopping us on third and out. So then we just needed to get some drives going and connect with some guys. And you know, we were executing the game plan on that last drive, and that's all we needed. So I'm very happy with our guys and very proud of them.
Yeah,
After they hit the onside kick, you was able to get the stop there, even though they scored, like, I think the next drive, right? That seemed to ignite the defense. What was it that really sparked it? Because you guys really caught fire right after that.
I mean, as a defense, we're always just said, like, stay ready. So we're on the sidelines, but we're all ready to go whenever we need called on. So, like, they got that, and we were just like, all right, let's go. Let's put out the fire. So let's get our offense as many possessions as we can.
Yeah, and yeah, I was going to say, just to add to what these guys are talking about. I mean, the one thing I can attest to from a coaching standpoint, there's no panic on that sideline. Certainly, they stunned us a little bit. And I would say we were on our heels, and there was a little bit like, oh, wow, what just happened there? But there was no panic. There was never anybody pointing any fingers, never anybody blaming anybody for anything. Everyone had each other's backs, and that's how you get back into that game right there. And like you mentioned, got that defensive stop. We started making a few adjustments to the early stuff they were doing that were different from what we had seen. And, the guys executed. And I also think we got past making a few mistakes. I mean, early on, just some discipline penalties. We're false start when we're down there in a situation where we go from a 3rd and 1 to a 3rd and 6, or just some little things like that we knew we could clean up, and we had to get our discipline back. But again, the guys did a great job handling the adjustments, and there was never panic one single time. And that's what you have when you have a team like this that's been through the fire and have been through these games before. You got some guys that know how to step up and make plays.
How much impact did the crowd make? I mean, I can feel it. I mean, and then the end zone crazy dudes. I mean,
hey, that's the 12th man down there, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't claim them. I'm not sure, but a lot of those guys, those guys are Wartburg Knights too, man. We've got a good segment of our team down there in the end zone because we can only dress 58 guys to the sideline. So it's just great to have those guys be a part of it. That's why I thought, hey, you guys are the 12th man. You guys have an impact on this game, and they're buying into that, and they're bringing it, and so that's awesome. And obviously the crowd just in general on the side. Certainly our players feed off that. They feel that. I think the opponent feels that. And I mean, Whitewater had a great crowd out there too. So it was just an awesome college football environment. I think a lot of people don't realize, what Division III football looks like and what it's about in big-time games, and you really witnessed it out there with that environment. It's a lot of fun.
Did you exercise some demons maybe, finally beating Whitewater, Chris?
I mean, for me, probably. Yeah, these guys, they're like, they don't really know. That's what I've said all week. These guys, I mean, I guess these two were around the last time we played them in 2019, but they were first-year players and probably didn't have quite as big of a role on the team. And so, a lot of our guys didn't even really, Whitewater was another school, right? I mean, we knew they were good, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not, multiple national champion. We know they're a power, but it wasn't a demon to exercise for a lot of our players. But for me, I've been around here long enough, and that felt great. It felt great. I hope. A lot of our alumni, and I know we had a lot of them out there in the crowd, and that was something that I told these guys was redemption for a lot of players in the past that have been through some heartbreakers against those guys to get that done that way. So, yeah, for sure.
Parker, you had 11 tackles today, a career high. Obviously, the way, and sometimes that's just a case of opportunity. How important was it for you to make the plays that were presented to you today and present those big plays?
Yeah, I mean, I was on kickoff this week, so that got me a couple. But we're just taught to fly around on defense. So fly around, you'll end up making some plays. And they coverage was good on the back end a lot, so they would spill it out to the flat, and I would be there. So just a couple easy plays that happened to spill out right to me. Nothing majors that I did. So.
Couple questions on the game-winning touchdown pass. That was the first time you give him that look. And two, Hunter, how mad were you about your previous pass?
Yeah, I mean, all week we've been practicing that pass, and I've been executing it perfectly. And then all of a sudden gets the game time, and I couldn't get denial. And it was a little upsetting. But with that last game drive, or that pass that we had, we were trying to run it when we were going towards the other end zone, and we just couldn't execute it. But now we fixed things on the sideline, and we executed it flawlessly, and we scored off of it. So it was awesome.
It ended up looking a lot better when Niall threw to Hunter instead of Hunter throwing to Niall. I mean, it seems about what it should be. I should probably tell Coach Wither, it's probably better to have Niall just throw to Hunter. I think that's kind of the conversation we had. But no, I'm just kidding.
Well, Niall on that play, you tied the single-season record for touchdown passes. Hunter, did you throw an incompletion so Niall can set the record?
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Coach, you got a chance now to play in the national, you host a good opportunity to host the national semifinals. How exciting is this?
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. I know the NCAA will announce that at some point, but if that thing's out here in Walton Hoover Stadium, that's really special. I mean, obviously we had a chance to make the semifinals for the first time last year. We had to go over to Mount Union and play over there, and that was I think that experience. You saw some of that show up again today. It's just been a cumulative effect of the experiences these guys have had. To have to battle through that adversity over there and fight the way we did and come up short. Have a few games, like I said, we had throughout the year here, and these guys have just been taking things, we've been talking about one day at a time, just one day at a time, trying to get better that day. And they're just taking the good, the bad, putting things together and just learning from those experiences. And they applied it today. And that's what was so special about today. With everything we've been through with this group, to come into this season, the expectations so high, certainly a lot of pressure, put on these guys, but they haven't flinched all year. And to get back here is super special. And to do it, out there in Walton Hoover Stadium, if we get that opportunity, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, because obviously you can tell when we play out there, some special things happen. So I like our chance against anyone that rolls in here.
Coach, during the second quarter there, you guys were rolling pretty well. Now throws the interception, Whitewater responds with a touchdown. Then the next drive, you guys start slinging the ball all over the field. Can you kind of walk me through that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from an offensive standpoint, that might be better for now to walk you through that, to be honest. I coach on the defensive side more than the offense. I'm on the headset with those guys, but I can tell you, Coach Wheeler, I got a lot of faith in him. He's my right-hand man. He's the assistant head coach, and I mean, when it comes to the offense, I trust him 100%. And that was his plan. That was what he went with. And I just try to stay out of the way and just call timeouts when I need to, and we go from there. But yeah, I mean, I think that was part of the thing, was trying to get back in the game, right? You get down with that type of deficit, and they had some things coverage-wise that we felt like we could expose. Obviously, they play a lot of quarters coverage, a lot of man coverage, a lot of spin down, cover three type stuff, mixing that up, and we felt like we had some matchups when we could know what coverage was coming, and we had a good feeling for it. And now it's hooking up with people. So yeah, that was a big part of it. It's just guys making plays, and I think you saw Drake, like he mentioned, Drake George, Carter Henry, Thor Mockstead, Tom Butters, Turbo here catching the ball out of the backfield. I mean, guys were just making plays. I mean, it was really special to see those guys start clicking like that when we needed them to. And that's what I mean. It's just they don't flinch. Nothing really phases them. They're gonna respond in tough situations. And one of the things I really appreciate about that too, moving forward for these guys. I mean, obviously we're not done yet, and we're gonna see how far we can take this thing. But once all said and done, those are the type of things that you can take with you into life too. And that's what's special about this level of football. There's a lot of levels where it's about money and transfer portals and all this stuff. This level is truly about playing for each other, and lessons they're going to learn, they're going to take with them, they're going to use them, apply them, when they go out in the work world and with their families, and it'll be pretty special at that point too. So, like I said, to talk about the passing game at that point, Coach Wheeler made some great calls and got us back in the game, and then the defense responded. The defense did a great job after they had us on our heels, responded. Owen Grover, Jordan Downing getting pressure on the quarterback. We started mixing and matching a lot more coverage than early on, as we expected them to run the ball a little more than they did. They kind of came out firing. And as we started getting some coverage changes and some pressure going, got the quarterback off balance and uncomfortable, got the ball back to the offense. Offense was clicking and got us right back into the game. So it was, like I said, just a special exchange right there in that second quarter to fight back, claw back. And then we knew at halftime we felt really confident going second half. We had a great chance to pull this thing off.
Parker, how much do you guys on the defensive side enjoy the fact that you can provide the spark like that to make that comeback happen?
I mean, it's the goal, just to get the ball back to the offense, because we know they're going to score. You can't keep them out of the end zone for that long. They're explosive. They're a bunch of dogs. So, I mean, we just try to get as many stops as we can, so just to get the offense the ball.
Outpouring of emotion at that final interception.
I mean, it was like my brother had it too. Like I was in tears. Like he's worked so hard to get to where he's at. Like to make that play is just awesome for him.
Now, from the outside looking in, seemingly you never get flustered. I mean, you probably do, but we're not huddle. But what makes you such a cool cat in these big situations?
I mean, I guess I'd attest a lot of that to just how I was raised growing up. And, I don't, I always think, you don't want to show emotion. I mean, obviously, there's highs and lows, but, showing emotions exposes things that, other teams could probably take advantage of. So, and just being a quarterback, the leader, you just got to have a cool, calm, collected approach to it, no matter what's going on. Obviously, we were in a hole there and we had to fight. So, just continuing to encourage and say, we're good, keep going. That's just kind of how I go about it. And, I might be thinking things in my head, but I can't be showing that to my teammates so that they're if I'm down, then that's not a good look for the rest of the team. So they kind of feed off that, I think.
And I'll tell you, Niles come a long way with that. He's one of the guys, too, that I think back to a couple years ago when we were starting our run in 2022, we had a senior meeting, and Niles says, hey, guys, I'm take this thing one day at a time. Let's just go one day at a time, get better that day. And he literally is taking that approach and has lived that out. I think when he was younger, you may have seen a guy that got frustrated a little bit at times and probably allowed those emotions to get to him a little bit when he was younger, and you could see that. And he's just really grown up and matured and has all the confidence in the world. I think too, just having guys around him that have confidence in him is a big thing. And he's been a great leader along the way. He doesn't have to say too much because the guys know what he's about. He shows up every day. He's ready to go, and we know what we're getting from Niall on a daily basis. We don't have to do too much of that emotional stuff. He can just be himself and do his thing.